alive, let's hit the dance floor. Don't work too hard, might break a backbone. Return to the Mac, the king is back though. Corvette and cash, I never lack those. She saw the stone, you know how that go. Fatality, my diamonds that cold. Versace trunks, I hit my backstroke. Knock on the door, she at the back, bro. All I really take is a little taste. Island girl, blue eyes with a little bass. Here for the thrill, I don't need a chaser.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Levi, and in today's video I want to do a few things that probably gonna help you and will help me. I'm shooting with DJI drones for a couple of years. If you bought one of their latest drones, it's probably come with this small package that contains few ND filters. Some of you probably use it, some of you probably not use it. Some of you don't even know what it meant for. So in this video, I'm going to explain the purpose of ND filters. I'm going to do a quick review. I'm not going to dive into it. There is a lot of other videos if you are more interested about ND filters and the technical stuff of them. I'm going to make a quick explanation and try to give you some context from the real life, how we use it. The second thing I want to do is talk about the boring stuff, photography. I'm joking, I love photography, I do it a lot. I'm going to explain how we can use ND filters and why we want to use ND filters in photography. And the third thing I'm going to explain is about how we use them in videography. And I'm going to go out and take some footage with ND filters and without ND filters. So without taking too much of your time, let's dive into it.
Life, love, and the pursuit of happiness. All that we all want, and all that we all need. Life, and lead.
So thank you for joining me for this video. I hope you will find it useful. If you are just interested in one of the subjects that I just mentioned, feel free to jump in the timeline. If you are new to this channel, my name is Levi. I live in Jordan Valley, Israel. I'm creating video for fun and for living. I'm owning a production business. I don't have a specific niche, even though there is few things that I don't like to shoot, but if you are interested in that, check my other videos. There is a lot of BTS for making video, and I'm trying to give some tips and some of my short experience to you guys, so feel free to check it out. So in the past year, I was using the DJI Air 2, and compared to the last drone that I was owning, it was the Mavic Air 1. In the latest version of DJI drones, if you're taking like the combo package or whatever, you're getting few ND filters. Now, I was using in the past year simultaneous with the ND filters and without ND filters. In the past few months, I'm feeling like I'm getting lower quality where I'm using the ND filters. I'm seeing a lot of noise, and even though I'm shooting in 4K, I'm experiencing low quality regarding resolution. So I want to do some tests for myself, taking the same shots with the ND filters and without the ND filters, and see if there is any difference. So today we are having a bright and sunny day over here in Jordan Valley, Israel. And in the moment that I woke up, I saw the weather and I decided to make this test. So the first thing I want to talk in this video is ND filters, why we are using them generally, what is their purpose. The simple explanation for that will be that there are some kind of sunglasses to our cameras. Sometimes we want to get some features in our cameras that leading us to get too much exposure. Now, the ND filters are labels in numbers. The lower the number, the less it will affect our shot. And the higher the number or the stop, it will affect more of our. Let's say you are shooting in really bright condition, you will probably want to use high number in order to block some of the light. If it's a cloudy day, but you're still getting your highlights blowing, you probably want to use a lower number of ND. So I don't want to get too much into it, and I'm not considering myself a technical professional or something like that. It's basically using like sunglasses, and the only thing that you need to know, it's the numbers. The lower the number, it will block less light to your camera, and the higher the number, it will block more light to your camera. Let's talk about the second thing, photography. Why we will want to use ND filter in photography. So basically in our day-to-day shooting, we don't really want to use ND filters for photography. We usually want as much light as we can get in our photos. When we are taking photos, we can always play with shutter speed, and if your shot is too much exposure, you can just crank up the shutter speed and you will block most of this light. It will snap the photos very fast, and you're probably not going to experience like blue emotions in your photos. And in my perspective, most of the time I don't want to get those blowy motions in my photos. I just want to get like sharp photo. So I will try to use the highest shutter speed that I can. The only time that I'm not using high shutter speed is if I'm doing like astrophotography or shooting at night. So I'm doing long exposure. But taking photo is a wide world and there is a lot of styles and niche. And some of them are taking long exposure photos during the day. So why would you want to do some long exposure photos during the days? To get those creamy water movement, waterfall kind of style shootings. Beside that, I don't really know why someone will want to use it, but I get it. It's really artistic and it's a very unique look. The second thing that you will want to do long exposure, it's in night if you want to get some more lights or if you want to get those traffic red light lines. So for doing those shots, in order to not get too much light during the day when you're doing long exposure, because your photo will be burned and you will not see anything, you want to use ND filters and put it in front of your lens and block some of the lights, and in this way you can get those photos. Now regarding drones, the first thing that I will say that I don't recommend to use ND filters for photography in drones, and I will explain why. So I don't really see myself taking photos with my drones for long exposure during the days or in the night. You're probably going to get some blurry photos anyway because your drone is all the time moving and you need like tripod steady shots in order to get these shots. So I don't really see the necessary for using ND filters for photography in drones. So that's it for photography. So for videography, in order to get the best cinematic footage that we can get for videos, we want to set our shutter speed double the time than our frame rate. Let's say if we're shooting 24 frames, we want shutter speed to be like 150. If we are using the 30 frames per second, we want to use the 160. If we are using 60 frames per second, we want to shoot on 120 shutter speed, and on and on. If you are going to the manual setting and you're putting your video setting according to these rules, you will probably notice that your highlights are blowing away, or maybe all your footage are blowing away, even though your ISO is the lower it can get. So the only way to work according to those rules is to put an ND filter. And that's why probably DJI decided to start putting them on their combo package or whatever. If you consider yourself professional, this is the setting that you want to use. So I was starting using them in my footage in order to get the right shutter speed and not shooting like 1 to 2000 shutter speed or whatever the automatic setting usually decide for me. But I'm noticing that I'm getting much more noise and lower quality. So in order to make sure that I'm not getting lower quality result while using those ND filters, let's go out, take some footage. So we'll test them in my computer and let you know what I'm thinking about it. So see this footage, decide for yourself. Let's go outside. Forgot drinking my tea. It's still warm. Okay, so like I mentioned, it's pretty bright day today, but also my sunglasses. So let's get some footage and make the comparison. So the first shot will be without any ND filter. It's important to say that I will use the auto setting feature and I will shoot all footage in 4K 60, and I will not shoot it in this scene or something like that. I will just put it on normal. So let's take the footage. Okay, so the first shot I will just go through here and then go up. It's a shot I like to do. The second shot that I will do, it's a parallax shot of the town that I'm living in. The next shot. Okay, now let's try the manual setting. I will switch it from auto to pro. I will put the shutter, it's already on 120. The ISO, just a minute, there is a tractor. So like you see, let's just wait for the tractor to leave. I live in some kind of farm community in Israel, so we are having tractors passing around. So I'm using the 16 ND stop. This is the lower that you get with my package. I don't know for other drones, probably it's the same. And it's sitting perfectly with ISO 200, which is super fine. Let's take a spin and see if there is any difference. We try to take the same shots anyway. There is plenty of birds over there. Let's try to get some shots of them. No way, taking these shots. So the birds during winter time, they are heading out south and they usually don't like drones. They usually fall in it, like now. So quick tip, if you are already experiencing that, try to fly backward and then take photos of your tail, because usually they will be over there. It's giving it a critical low battery.
Critically low battery.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, let's switch battery, take it again. So I got new battery. Let's get the footage with the ND. I'm not going to be distracted from those birds again.
I want my bird.
You want a bird?
I want my bird.
So I hope you enjoyed this footage and hanging out with me a little bit and maybe even learn something. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see some more video like this or maybe even better one. Leave a comment if you have any questions regarding this topic or generally. And please let me know what you are here for, if you also own a DJI drone, or maybe you was interested about the handy filters, or maybe you like vlogs or Jordan Valley Israel content. I'm still experimenting the content I want to put in this channel, so I will really appreciate if you will tell me what you think and what you like or maybe even didn't like. If you don't care about the conclusion regarding the handy filter or not the handy filter, then see you you in the next one. If you want to hear my thoughts about the comparison that I just did, stick around a little bit. So regarding the test, if I am going to use the ND filters or not, the answer is most of the time I'm not going to use the ND filters, and I will explain why. There is ups and downs for using the ND filters, and there is ups and downs for not using the ND filters. The ups for not using the ND filters is that you're saving preparation times, and most of the time when I'm shooting, I want to do it quick because I don't want people to pay attention for me flying a drone. So I do it quickly, take my footage, taking it down, especially when I'm traveling. If I will use an ND filters, I need to make a little bit of adjustment and it can get attention, so most of the time I'm not going to use it. The downs for not using an ND filter is that you do experiment a little bit of flickering because of the shutter speed side effects, especially in the footage when you have a lot of details, and I did notice a little bit of flickering in the date tree and also a little bit in the shadows. It's not very satisfying to the eyes, but most of the time I will live with that. And the benefit for using an ND filter is that you do get a little bit of motion blur, especially if you move very close to subjects and you get in like those FPV lookalikes footage. If you don't use an ND filters, the object that you are moving next to them will be sharp and it's not very natural. Compared to if you are using an ND filters and correct shutter speed, they will have a little bit of motion blur and it will look more cinematic. And for the times that I do want to get those shots, I will use an ND filters, but most of the time I will not use. And the reason for that is the downs of using the ND filters, which I already said it's time consuming and adjustment before you are taking the shots. And I did notice a little bit of color shifting and reducing the sharpness and the quality. I did get a little bit more noisy footage with the ND filters, but it's something that most of the people will not even notice. I do notice it because I'm editing the footage, of course, but I assume that most of the people will not notice. So I hope it was helpful for you. Like I said, most of the time I'm not gonna use the ND filters, but for those times that I want to get like a little bit cinematic and I move close to objects, I will use the ND filters. I hope it helped you decide what you're going to do with your footage, and let me know, will you use the ND filters or not? That's it for today's video. Again, thank you for watching and sticking around, and see you in the next one.